Hello everyone, in today's video I'm going to share with you my honest opinion about studying here in the United States as an international student. This video is not to discourage you or anything from coming here, but it's also to open light about what you should expect when you come studying in the US. Like, don't expect too much when you come in to study here. Don't think it's all fun and amazing. I'm going to share light on my basic experience I've had, studying in the US, the struggles that I've gone through just to get to where I am today. In 2015, I decided to apply to come study here in the US. I applied to Western Nebraska Community College, if you don't know about it. In February, I got accepted and I moved here around July 29. That's when I arrived in the US through JFK, New York. I got to say, I was very fortunate enough, my dad, I transferred about $6,000 to $7,000. He basically cleared his bank account just to help me come study here. I know some of you may not have that option. So it kind of like gave me a solid foundation to build upon. It helped pay for my full-year tuition and my first semester, room and board because I lived on campus. But then it surely didn't pay for my second semester. And I didn't think ahead how I was going to pay for the rest of it. And not to mention, when I was coming to the US, I only had $130 in my pocket when I first came to the US. I didn't know nobody. I didn't have any family member here. It was just me, myself, and I. For the first semester of about 4 to 5 months, getting to Christmas, I only had $130 to spend. I was able to manage that money, which I'll say that is not a lot of money to spend. Literally, all I was eating was the cafeteria food. By then, I was playing soccer, so I didn't have time to work. Doing soccer, you're traveling and all that, so I couldn't really work, because it was season. And Christmas time came, we are told we cannot live on campus during Christmas break. And I don't know anybody. So for me, luckily I was going to a church, where I told the pastor, I told my coaches, hey, I need a place to live for Christmas break. I don't have nowhere to live. It was rough. Even my whole family said they didn't have a place for me. So luckily for me, the pastor made an announcement in the church and somebody stood up and said they'll help me out. It was a family of about 6 or 7, which is a big family. So for them taking their time to say they were gonna take me in to help me out, I really did appreciate it. During those times, I lived with them, I kept thinking, how am I gonna pay for my, next semester, room and board, which was gonna be rough, and how am I even gonna take care of my feeding? The guy told me, in life, if you want somebody to help you, you need to have a plan. And I had to think twice about, what I was going to do. So the second semester came. He told me, can I talk to the school to see if they can let me live off campus? And I went to talk to them. They said, no, I signed a contract, so I have to follow through with the contract, which made everything, rough. But I was lucky enough, this family, offered to buy me groceries, So basically, all I had to do was just eat the cafeteria food, and they were bringing me groceries on the side to help me out. So what I did was I applied, when school reopened, I applied for a job at the cafeteria, which was the best decision I made. If you're an international student and you think you don't have enough money, I'll suggest applying to a job at the cafeteria will be a good bet for you, because then after work you get free food. Even in some places you get to eat before you work, and also after, when you're done, you get to eat, which is a good deal, So as time went by, I had a plan to pay for the rest of my tuition. So every paycheck I had went straight to paying tuition. Every paycheck's tuition, which was rough because I couldn't do much as a person, So I decided to, figure out some opportunities that were on campus. I talked to the financial aid office. They told me about opportunities, and so I got to find out that you can actually audition for music. They have music on campus. I don't know how to read music, so I was scared at first. But my friend told me, yeah, you should audition. I've heard you sing, your voice is not too bad. So I did audition, and yeah, I got it. They gave me a half tuition at first, so I got half of my tuition figured out for the subsequent year coming up, because me talking right now was in the spring semester. So the following semester, which was going to be like 2016, 2017 semester, I had half tuition for it. And I also found out, they were giving scholarships to be a student ambassador. So I decided to also interview for that job. And luckily for me, I was able to get that job too. Plus, they also had scholarship to be a mascot where you wear the costume. So I also did audition. I also auditioned for that, and boom, I got that too. So now it's like everything started clicking. I got a job, working 20 hours a week. I became the mascot. I also became the student ambassador. I was doing music. I had to quit soccer because it was a decision I had to make. You see that sacrifice soccer that I love very much, or struggle to pay for tuition. That's why I always encourage international students to always go to cheaper schools, because in the end, if you can't afford it, you're going to struggle, and most schools will not let you transfer or give you a transcript until you pay for everything you owe the school. So moving on, things went by, things were beginning to work out little by little, and during the summer, I was able to secure an internship, like I said, which is called a CPT. So international students qualify for CPT after 1 year of studying, where you can work off campus, in your major. So I was able to secure an internship. It helped me save a bit of money. So during the summer of 2016, I applied to be a summer RA. They do offer RA positions during the year, but I did not make it when I applied for it. So I decided to apply for the summer so I can live on campus for free. So then during the summer I lived on campus, and I was just chilling, I was fed and everything, it wasn't a hard job to do. I used those times to look for, housing off campus, because I signed a contract for 1 year and the contract expired. So now I got an option to look for a place off campus. So I was lucky to find a place off campus. I signed the lease for August, and I moved my stuff out before school reopened. So now, school has reopened. I have scholarship to pay for school, I have tuition scholarship, I have a mascot scholarship. I also got academic scholarship because I had a really high GPA of about, 3.9 or 4.0, I believe. So, so I got all that. So now I'm working 20 hours a week. I'm going to class, I'm a mascot, I'm doing music, I'm a student ambassador. I'm doing all this just to survive and pay for school. So I always tell myself, whenever I hear somebody say, hey, how can I get scholarship? The school didn't accept me and all that. I got to tell you, it's rough. You got to understand the point that these schools are coming from. Nobody's going to offer you money if you're not doing anything for them in return. You got to be able to offer them something in order for them to give you a scholarship, or even to look at you and say, hey, you deserve some money from us. It's not easy, so don't feel entitled, if you don't get a scholarship or anything. It's rough. You got to put in the work to get the scholarship. But I've got to say, living off campus was rough because I didn't have a car. When it was summertime, I had to walk almost everywhere on a bike. When it was snowing, I had to walk about 20 minutes because my school was 20 minutes away from campus. It wasn't easy, to be honest. There were days my hands were freezing, I couldn't feel my hands. There were days I didn't even want to go to class because, man, the struggle was real. And also, I do support my family here and there, so the money that I got from working, I had to send some home, to help the family out. There was time I didn't even have money on myself. So I gotta say, it's not easy. I was very blessed enough. Somebody from the church, I don't know what touched this guy, but he decided to give me a car for free, which was crazy. It doesn't really happen a lot. So I was so lucky. This person, decided to give me a car, and also paid for about 6 months of insurance for me, which was which was mind-blowing beyond reasoning. Who would do this for somebody that they barely know? So that kind of made things a little bit easier for me, going back and forth to school, waking up and not having to stress about paying for a car, and insurance. Because I've got to say, it's a little bit expensive, to go to school here in the US, not talking about tuition. Tuition can be expensive, but you're talking about where you live. Rent can be expensive depending on the location where you find yourself. Talking about paying for electricity, gas, water. You're paying for sewage depending on where you live. You also have a phone bill that you have to pay. If you sign a contract, you have to pay monthly. But if you do pay as you go, you have to pay as it expires, you have to pay for it, or paying for Wi-Fi, you know, and food and all that. It can be really expensive, and it all adds up to it. So I always encourage people to consider all these factors, you know, before even deciding to come study in the US. Moving on, I decided to go one more year, you know, just to, you know, buy myself time to figure out what I want to do. So in my final year, I was given a full tuition, you know, so now even working 20 hours a week, you know, student ambassador and all that, you know, it kind of paid for all my school for me, and I was getting extra money back from the school. So I was basically getting paid to go to the school, except I had to pay for living off campus and all that, you know. But then I also found out there were scholarships for, you know, to sing in the church off campus, like a choir. So I auditioned and I got a scholarship for it. You know, it was giving me around $350, you know, a semester. So I went ahead and then signed up, and I also got that. So after I graduated from my community college, I decided to take a year off, you know, and use my OPT option. You know, so for every international student, just so you know, if you go to a community college, after that, you have the option to apply for OPT, you know, which is optional practical training, which is something you can use in your major to work for 1 year. You know, but for your bachelor's and your master's or PhD, you can get to work for up to 3 years, depending on your major, if your major fall under STEM. If it's a non-STEM major, you know, like, you have to work just for 1 year. And I did talk more about this in my video on how I was able to pay for my school as an international student. So if you haven't seen that, I'll leave the link so you can go watch it at the end of the video, or you can see a note up there, you can click on it and go watch it. I was fortunate enough after graduation, I moved in with my host family. You know, this was a host family I found through the church, you know, in the past when I was going to school. So they moved to a different location, so I moved with them. You know, I lived in their house for a year just so I can work and save some money. You know, so for a year, I didn't pay for electricity, gas, water. All I had to worry about was my phone bill, you know, and my gas for my car. So after living with my host family, you know, for a year, you know, I was able to find a school. They told me to apply to a school which wasn't too far away from them. So I applied to a school called Wayne State College, which is where I am right now today. It wasn't too expensive. Because of my GPA, I'll qualify for in-state tuition, which is still not too cheap. You know, I'm paying around $7,000, you know, ish a year to go there, you know. So I got accepted to the school. I went for orientation, you know, and you know, school started, everything wasn't going too bad. You know, I got a house off campus, you know, but also, like I said, I was paying for electricity, gas, water bill, you know, sewage, you know, my phone bill, mail and all that. So, you know, before I realized, you know, the money I saved, like almost like half of it was gone, to be honest, after a year. You know, and I was sending money home to support my family. But then I got a job on campus though, so that kind of helped me a little bit. 2018, if I didn't say that, that's when I graduated from college. I was in summer. And then like in 2019 was when I began attending school at this school, which is Wayne State College, if I didn't say that. And around that time, I believe, which was spring 2020, that's like getting close to the end of my 1 year of studying there, was when COVID hit. Yeah. COVID messed everything up. Like literally, I lost my job, you know, on campus through text message. It was scary. Like literally, I was almost broke. Like I didn't have any money. Like to be honest, like I was so scared. All the money I had was probably gonna just pay for my rent and utilities and probably for food. You know, I didn't know what I was gonna do paying for my fall semester. Like to be honest, I didn't know what to do. You know, because everything closed down, you know, like there was lockdowns and I didn't know what to do. And lucky for me, I had some friend who recommended me applying for an internship which related to my major, which was needed at that time, you know, for customer service. So I was like, wow, you know, I never really thought about that. So as a business student, it related to my major. So I decided to, you know, well, why not? I applied for this job, and lucky for me, I got it because it was an essential work, you know, during that time. So I got the job, and that was what kind of kept me afloat a little bit to save some money for school and also to take care of myself. But then some friends I made way back when I used to work like as a sales associate after my associate degree came in clutch. They also decided, you know what, we're gonna help you out a little bit because you're a student and you're struggling. They helped pay for half of my tuition, which was insane. Which was insane, I've got to say. Since then, I've got to say, they've been helping me out here and there to pay for school. And I'm still here. Like, the school don't really give me much scholarship, I've got to say. They give you like $500, like $480, like a year. So it's up to you to figure out, how you're gonna pay for it, the rest of it. It's not easy to study as an international student in the US, If you don't have a family who's gonna support you, if you're not lucky, to find people like I did who helped me out, throughout my study process here in the US, it's gonna be rough for you as an international student. I'm not gonna lie or sugarcoat anything. And there are people saying, oh, I can work, to pay for school, can I work to pay for school, Like, there are so many of you accepting to go to schools that you're supposed to pay $20,000 a year. How are you gonna pay that? That's a question I ask you. How are you gonna do that? You cannot do that. I just gotta be honest with you, y'all. So my advice for you is always look for a cheaper community college or like a cheaper 4-year college or university and go to. If you get scholarship, hey, you blessed. Big ups to you, for getting scholarship. Always look for scholarships, because they will help you so much, especially if you can afford it. Studying in the US is expensive, so if you can afford it, I'll encourage you to look for other options. Like in Germany or in Europe, in Finland, all those places, you can go to school there for free. All you have to do is pay for the fees, and take care of your food and all that, So those options are there. Or you can also look in Canada if you can get scholarships. Mostly I recommend for master's degree, you can come study in the US, Canada, or those places. Because most of the time, there are a lot of scholarships for master's programs or PhD, just like graduate studies, especially in the research area. Especially in Canada, they do offer a lot of like research scholarships for international students. So you guys can look into that if you want, like if you have a research experience, I'll say do that. My advice for you is to take your academics seriously, especially when you're in high school. Do a lot of volunteer activities like 6 months, do at least 2 or 3 of them for a duration of like 6 months, because it will help you. Just take your academics seriously, especially your GPA. The SAT or ACT, I encourage you to take them if you can afford it, because it can save you a lot of money. You can get scholarship to go to school here, especially if you think you can afford paying for school in the US, and if paying for school and taking care of yourself, especially food, would be expensive, apply for a job at the cafeteria because that will also save you a lot of money, So I'm gonna end the video here. I know I talk so much, but this is my advice to you, to take it with a grain of salt. You don't have to take it. You can take it. I'll leave it up to you to figure that one out. But I'm not trying to discourage you from studying in the US. I'm just giving you my honest opinion. It's gonna be rough if you think, if you don't have family supporting you or if you're not lucky like me, But I'll say there are great people out there, I'll say it's worth the shot. If you wanna do it, go ahead and do it. It's not bad, but keep in mind, it's gonna be rough, but in the end, it's gonna be worth it, It's the US, it's the Canada. At the end of the day, if you study something good like IT, construction, welding, like the science field, like being a doctor and all that, it's gonna be worth it because it's gonna change the life of you and your family. So if that's the ultimate goal and what you want, hey, then go ahead and do it. It doesn't hurt, If you don't want to hear, hey, if you want to subscribe, that's fine, But hey, like the video and share it with your family and friends so they can also know what is going on. Thank you very much. Peace out.
Searching for my lost home. Mirror, tell me what you know. I'm losing some more.